The term no sabo is a derogatory term often used on Chicanx and Latinx individuals who do not speak and or are not fluent in Spanish. Whether it is generations losing the value of speaking Spanish or parents refusing to teach their kids, many factors have contributed to the decline in the Spanish-speaking language proficiency. Many times, no sabos are looked down upon for a choice their parents made when they only made it with the best intentions. In adulthood, it is common to see no sabos trying to learn Spanish, but many times they feel rejected and judged by their own community. In reality, this causes internalized oppression. They feel like they don't have a sense of belonging, and they put like a certain pressure on themselves after having a certain pressure put on by their community. Moving forward, many parents did this in order to spare their children from racism while also trying to help them in the future by being able to speak English. Many first-generation immigrants also justified their decision to not teach their kids Spanish based on their own experiences, as they were judged by their accents and were made fun of as they struggled academically. This is a direct result of dual language learning not yet being implemented into the education system. An example of this, there was an article called How Anti-Latino Discrimination Resulted in the No Sabo Generation. Michelle Zacharias explains how no sabo adults are a result of anti-Latino discrimination that many previous generations have experienced. An example of this is an interviewee explains that when her grandmother was in elementary school, she and other migrant students had to take classes in the janitor's closet. This also affects their positionality. The no sabos now and their previous ancestors, like their grandparents and their parents, this greatly affected their positionality. And then, according to a research done in 2024, about half of U.S. Latinos who do not speak Spanish say other members of the Latino and the Chicanx community have made them feel bad for it. And then, additionally, half of young Hispanic adults, ranging from 18 to 29 years of age, are least likely to be able to carry a conversation in Spanish. Nowadays, many are redefining what it means to be a no sabo. They recognize that they come from descendants of very strong people who learned their survival tactics in order for them to thrive in America, such as not teaching their kids Spanish and only having them know English. They call action to their communities in order for them to take responsibilities for not shaming one another for their ability to speak Spanish. Additionally, possible solutions that can be explored are owning the label of being a no sabo and not having it be a derogatory term. And then something a viewer can do about this issue is advocating and allowing for further Spanish classes to be added into school curriculums, and so future generations can learn Spanish. Additionally, for the adults that do not know how to speak Spanish, they can take online courses to learn more Spanish, or they can use other resources as well.
Hello, my name is Eliana Medina, and as a member of the No Sabo community and a fourth generation Mexican American, speaking from my experience, there's times I feel unexpected from the Mexican community because I don't speak Spanish. My mom's side of the family has lived in America for multiple generations, so Spanish has slowly died out in her bloodline. My dad's family recently came from Mexico and they are also Spanish speakers, but since my dad wasn't super present in my life as a child, I was never taught Spanish by him or his family. And it is a little embarrassing when a Spanish speaker approaches me for help at work or school because they assume I speak Spanish, but I unfortunately cannot help them. I also feel judged because I've been told many times, oh, but you're Mexican, why don't you speak Spanish? Or you look like you speak Spanish. And not speaking Spanish isn't because I'm lazy or like live in America. It's mostly because I was never taught Spanish, and also my grandparents that came from Mexico had learned English just to speak to me and my siblings. That's it. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jackie Ruiz. I'm a first generation Mexican American, meaning my parents were immigrants from Mexico. I don't consider myself an Osavo because I grew up speaking the Spanish language and it's my primary language. I also grew up going to having Spanish classes as I was in dual immersion from K through 12. I know a couple of Nosabos. A lot of them being my cousins and some of my friends. Although they grew up around people that mostly spoke Spanish, they were mostly just used to only speaking English. So a lot of them, like they'll have conversations in Spanish, but they mostly speak broken Spanish. And a lot of my other family members, they just never grew up speaking Spanish. And now they do try to learn now, and they have told me it's a little bit difficult for them learning now.
Hi, I'm Araceli. My siblings and I are a first generation Hispanic, Latino, American. I think that's how you say it. I'm so sorry if that's not how you say it. But my parents are the ones who immigrated here. So me and my siblings grew up here. We went to school here. We learned to speak English here. With that being said, Spanish was our main language at home. So we are not no Sabo kids, but I've noticed that between my siblings and I, the language that's main and like mostly spoken is English. So I believe that if anything, their kids would be the ones that grow up to be the No Sabo generation. But I also know that my siblings really do not want that, and I wouldn't either. So I think we're in a phase when we're starting to realize that we need to incorporate more Spanish into our communication with each other, and simply keep on practicing it and developing it. That way when the time does come, it's still like fresh versus like all faded away and like chopped up. And yeah, so I think that's it. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Andrew C. Janito. My family came here during the Lake Bracero program. From there, my family went from all of LA, mainly staying at San Fernando until, I came along in LA County and so forth. A little bits about me is that, I grew up LA County, go out to my family, go visit them in San Fernando, and we'll hit the boulevard, either cruising their 59s or old schools, and talking to the locals there in either English or broken Spanish or so forth. But the more and more I spoke to them and spoke to my family in Spanish, the more I understand and spoke it a little bit better.
Hello, my name is Vincent Garcia. I am a third generation Mexican American, which I was born to a non-Spanish speaking father and a Spanish speaking mother, which in my family, basically the entire family is no Sabo except for me and my mom. both of my brothers and my father, which that would mean in my household, you need to speak English so that they can understand you. Which, when I was younger, I actually was a no Sabo kid because I couldn't speak Spanish, let alone a single lick of any language that wasn't a few signs in sign language. Pretty much when I got into my teenage years, I had to seek out how to speak Spanish, which when I started getting the hang of it, it became even more difficult. It still even is difficult, and sometimes my Spanish still becomes broken.
Okay. Hi, we are here with
Veronica,
and how old are you, Veronica?
20.
20. Okay. Do you know what a no Sabo kid is?
I would say, I guess, but it's basically when a person doesn't speak fluently Spanish.
Okay. Do you consider yourself a no Sabo kid?
Not necessarily.
And why is that?
Because I spoke Spanish as growing up, and plus other languages.
Oh, okay. So you're trilingual?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay, that's cool. And how did you become trilingual? How did that come about?
So my parents are both Guatemalans, so
Okay.
they taught me how to speak it like at the very young age. And then once I started school, they probably thought like there was not many people that I can talk to in their own language. So that's when they decided to teach me more Spanish, to talk more with my grandparents and like my uncles and everybody else. So that's where basically my Spanish root came from too. And then now I only speak English with everybody else.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you. Hi, we are here with
Jacob,
how old are you, Jacob?
21.
21. Okay. Do you know what a no Sabo kid is?
Yes, I do.
Could you define a no Sabo kid for me, please?
Like a Hispanic person who can't speak Spanish
Okay.
or speaks it like, or can't speak it fluently.
Okay, perfect. Do you consider yourself a no Sabo kid?
No,
And why is that?
because I can speak it fluently.
What led you to speaking Spanish fluently?
I grew up with like raised by my grandparents and my dad. They only spoke Spanish growing up, so it was my first language basically. And in the house, that's all we speak.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Hi, we are here with
Miranda.
And how old are you, Miranda?
18.
18. Okay. Do you know what a no Sabo kid is?
Someone who doesn't speak Spanish but tries to.
Okay. Close enough. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's technically what it is. Are you a no Sabo kid?
I'd say so.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do you think that?
Because I used to say no Sabo.
Oh, instead of no
no
se. Okay. Why do you think no Sabo kids, like, I guess in a way exist, or how are they like made up? Why do you think that is?
I think, well, for me, at least, my parents they taught me Spanish, but then they stopped teaching me Spanish.
Okay.
And they expected me to know Spanish.
Alrighty. And why did your parents stop teaching you Spanish?
It was like American speaking country.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, thank you so much.